Hey everybody, this is Jinjos coming at you with another Marvel Legendary Spring 2025 tournament breakdown. This is for week number 2. Very excited to jump into this. The setup's just dropped today, and I've been brainstorming all day, just going over all the numbers, going over all the hero classes, all the setups, and trying to come up with some great hero selection advice for you guys. I'm pretty excited to jump into it. I think it's going to be a fun little video to go through. So kind of the goal of this is we're going to be going through each and every single one of the pods. I'm going to be breaking down the villain side of things, and then I'm going to be looking over the pre-selected heroes we have. And with all that combined, I'm hopefully going to give you at least 3 hero suggestions for you in terms of when you get to select the heroes that you want to bring along for your attempts. So just kind of, let's see, just want to say thanks to everybody in the Discord who's been watching the videos. Kind of the comments and all that kind of fuel me and keep me excited to keep doing this. So I just want to say thanks for that. Thanks to Bageltop and all the great resources that are out there for Marvel Legendary fans. The especially this website, legendarycardgames.com. I use this. This is like one of the best sites I'm on it. Like I swear I'm on it at least a couple times a week. It's just a great little resource to look up cards and everything. So shout out to them. Also, so just before we jump in, just for anybody who's maybe watched for the first time, just a quick little rundown of kind of how I do things in terms of kind of my philosophy in terms of figuring all this out. My number one goal is to read the scheme in the mastermind and see if there is a lose clause, or if it asks us for something specific. So if we come across a scheme that says like, hey, you need strength heroes or else you're going to start gaining wounds, then that's kind of my number one priority. Is I want to be able to make sure my setup has strength heroes in there so that I can prevent the bad things from happening, because lots of times you're going to lose due to the scheme, and if we have a way to prevent that, that's very, very important. The next most important thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to build a synergistic hero deck as much as we possibly can, because I think that, in my opinion, that's what's going to lead to you winning the game more often than stressing about the villains and stressing about other things like that. It's like, if as long as your hero deck is just top notch and all the heroes can cohesively work together, that's kind of what we're shooting for. I would say my general philosophy in terms of building the hero deck, there's usually 5 heroes in there. And what I'm kind of shooting for is two of them are going to synergize together. The next 2 will synergize together, and then there's going to be the 5th character who kind of glues everything together. The 5th hero is kind of the flexible one. It can go in either of the decks, things like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. And kind of the last thing I'm looking at are the villains and the henchmen. Usually, they're a very important part of the game, but most of the time I'm not going to warp my whole hero selections based around what the villains are doing. There are a few of them that do ask a lot of you, so when those pop up, I'll be talking about them. But keep in mind, I'm not going to be reading over every single card, and I'm not going to be going over all the villains. Most of the time, it's the villains that I don't go over, because lots of times it's just like, hey, you just can't do anything about them. Like, they're going to pop up, you have to deal with them, things like that. But we are going to go over all the setups, and we're going to read through all the schemes and the masterminds and the heroes. So all right, well, let's jump right into this. We're going to be going over pod number 16. This is Bastion Genesis of Evangel Chthon. For the setup, we have Bastion Fuse Sentinels, the Mastermind. The scheme is Ritual Sacrifice to Summon Chthon. The villain deck is the Purifiers, Deadpool's Secret Wars, Lilin, and then the henchmen are Sentinel Squad 1. Great little henchman group right there. For the hero deck, we have Ruby Summer, Shatterstar, Steve Rogers, Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Another great hero setup, I think. There's a lot of cool little synergies we can get with those heroes, and I got a couple of good ideas for you guys. For the special rules, when prompted to do something with the mastermind, the current player chooses one. And then the sets that are allowed are going to be Captain America 75th Anniversary, Messiah Complex, Midnight Suns, and Secret Wars Volume 2. Let's jump into the mastermind and the scheme. So this Bastion's a really, really fun mastermind. I really enjoy playing him. So he has 4 HP, which is pretty low, but all Sentinel masterminds get +1 attack for each Master Strike in the KO pile, even after Bastion is defeated. So the more Master Strikes, the harder it's going to be able to take out these different masterminds. For the Master Strike, a card from the Bystander stack ascends to become a 3-attack Prime Sentinel Mastermind with Fight to rescue this. Master Strike, each player reveals the top card of their deck and discards it if it costs 1 or more. So we can't really do too much in terms of that. When we do fight him, like I said, his HP is pretty low. Lots of times what's going to happen is, for example, if we fight and we draw the Tactic Master Mold Sentinel Factory, when we fight it, we're going to rescue 3 bystanders, which is great, but we're going to KO one of our heroes. Then Master Mold is going to ascend to become an additional mastermind, whose only ability is Master Strike. A Sentinel henchman from the villain deck enters the city, shuffle the villain deck. So he's going to, so all of these are going to be ascending to become more masterminds. So you kind of have to hit them multiple times, but usually the HP is pretty low. Now there's 2 of them that just to kind of keep in mind. If I wouldn't say you have to warp your whole deck around them, but it's good to keep in mind. Template Infected Sentinel, his master strike is each player reveals a covert hero or discards one of their non-gray heroes, which isn't fun. So if we could have, maybe 1 or 2 commons that are covert, I wouldn't say no. The other one is going to be Machine Man Sentinel Supreme. His master strike is each player reveals a tech card or is going to gain a wound. So once again, we kind of want to have, if we could have one common card that's tech, 1 common card that's covert, I think that's going to cover most of the bases. But yeah, just kind of that is definitely something we want to keep in mind. For the scheme, we got this one from Midnight Suns. This is Ritual Sacrifice to Summon Cthon. All right, for the setup, there's going to be 6 twists plus 1 per player, so it's going to go up to 8 because we're playing at least 2-handed solo or with 2 people. Add Lilith as an extra villain group. If using Lilith, use 1 twist total and still use an extra villain group. That's a different mastermind, and we're not using that for right now. So twist 1 to 4, a villain or a mastermind is going to hunt for victims, and then twist 5 to 11, the mastermind is going to hunt for victims. Special rules: when 5 bystanders are in the KO pile, shuffle all twists from the KO pile back into the villain deck. Then the scheme transforms into Great Old One Cthon. Flip it over. Then KO all other masterminds and their remaining tactics. Okay, so just as a quick look at that, we want to have this scheme is going to be putting out bystanders that we need to rescue before they get hunted down. So we're going to be rescuing a lot of bystanders. So that's something we can kind of keep in mind in terms of our heroes. The backside is Great Old One Cthon. So he has 27 HP, which is crazy. And then a Master Strike or Twist is, if a Master Strike or a Twist is drawn, destroy the current player. Destroy the current player. Shuffle the strike or twist back into the villain deck. Cthon wins when all players are destroyed. This card can only start the game as the scheme on the other side. So, it'd be very impressive if this does flip, and I'll be very impressed if you win fighting through Great Old One Cthon. That's some Arkham Horror stuff going on right there. So this is kind of a timer scheme. There's not really anything we could do to kind of prevent this from occurring, at least in terms of like hero classes or certain hero cards. In order to stop it, we just need to be able to rescue the bystanders from the city and make sure they don't get hunted down. So that is going to be covering the mastermind and the scheme. Looks like we don't really need to stress too much about the villain side of things. Let's just jump into our heroes. Let's take a look at our first one. The first one up is going to be Ruby Summers. She's got some cool, interesting things going on here. So she does kind of one of the unique parts of her is guerrilla warfare. If this card is discarded, you teleport it instead, and then it's going to be, you get to add it to your next hand, which is pretty cool. Kind of gives you that, you still get a little bit of value out of there. So if we have some heroes that purposely want us to discard some cards, this can kind of be a little bit of a fail-safe in terms of that. She does have a dual class card here in strength and range, which is great. And then you do have to discard a card in order to play this. So that does give you a little synergy between these 2 commons. And then she does want us to have some X-Men heroes so that we can get a little bit of extra recruit when we're defeating villains or masterminds. I wouldn't say this is completely crucial. So overall, I would say Ruby Summers isn't really asking too much of us, and I don't think we need to overly worry about it too much. Let's see. Let's take a look at our next one. This is going to be Shatterstar. He's an X-Force hero, and he revolves a lot around his clone ability. So when we recruit him, if we can reveal ourselves a instinct hero, we can clone either one of his 2 common cards, which is really great. He's getting an extra recruit in the first one. He's drawing cards in the other one. And then we also have Bioelectric Surge, which is going to need ranged heroes in order to clone. And then we're doing Tactical Formation 5/5. You get +1 extra attack, which that bonus isn't huge. So I'm not putting a ton of weight on the Tactical Formation part, especially because of the fact that if we can recruit this and clone at the same time, we're automatically going to have more cards in our deck that do cost 5. Plus his Gladiator Blades also cost 5. So it's going to help us with that little bit of Tactical Formation. But we do want to have some instinct heroes in there. I would say, yeah, we definitely want to have at least 1 other common card that's instinct, maybe 2. So that's another thing to keep in mind. For the next one, we do have Captain America, Director of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's pretty generically strong, I would say, especially International Strike Force. He's going to get +1 recruit and +1 attack for each hero class you have. The attack is based behind the Savior mechanic, meaning you need to have 3 bystanders in your victory pile in order for it to be activated. But with the scheme that we have so far, with the scheme we have so far, that's going to allow us to rescue bystanders throughout the game. It's going to provide those bystanders for us to reach that Savior. But if we can speed that along, there's nothing wrong with that. He reassigned to civilian duty is pretty good. It does get weaker and weaker as the game goes on because we generally don't have shield heroes in order to keep that active. But I think in this instance, that looking for another hero that is a shield hero team on the shield team could be pretty useful for this. Being able to consistently KO cards from your deck is always a strong move, and rescuing bystanders is really good just because you can pad your victory points. We are in a tournament here, so our VP does really matter. And then Shadows of War's Past is just a really dang good card. So I feel like it's not asking too much of us, but we do want to have some bystanders, and we do want to have some covert cards, or some instinct cards, so we can activate Shatterstar a little more reliably. Ruby Summers does have the ranged heroes to help out with Shatterstar's uncommon cards, so that's a good thing. But yeah, I would say, yeah, we want a couple more instincts to help Shatterstar out a little bit. I don't know if really focusing on the discard synergy with Ruby Summers is going to be like the strongest point, just because it is one of her common cards. It's one of her common cards, and the rest of them don't really focus around the discard synergy. So we'll see what we can do. Got a couple good suggestions for you guys though. I think Captain America Falcon just slots in so well. Because we're going to be getting bystanders from the city, and we're going to be rescuing them through Captain America, I think Captain America Falcon is going to do very good here. We will be able to activate Aerial Catch with a bunch of Shatterstar Instinct heroes, and it's going to provide us that little recruit boost, which is good. We also get a range card and Wing Salvation to help out with Shatterstar as well. But the big thing is Savior +2. So this card is going to give you 4 attack with 1 card, which is bonkers strong. I mean, any card that gives you 4 attack or 4 recruit on its own is a very, very solid card. And I don't know how often we're going to be getting wounds in this setup, but Flying Shield block, we can use that in order to prevent those wounds and rescue bystanders as well. So I think Captain America Falcon is going to slot very nicely in this setup, and that's kind of my first recommendation. The next one is going to be actually a shield hero, which was a good little find, I would say. Let's see, where are you? Are you... Oh, there she is. that was worrisome. Elsa Bloodstone. So she is part of the Shield team, and her Defend the Shield wall uncommon card actually bases around other Shield team members. So if you combine her with Steve Rogers, I think you're going to do pretty well. You'll be able to KO cards consistently with Steve Rogers, one of his common cards, but she also provides us with Bloodstone Pendant, which is an instinct card to help out with Shatterstar, possibly help out with Captain America Falcon if that's what you want to do. And because she has Spectrum, which means you could basically slot this in any deck, and I think you're going to be able to activate it unless you're so focused on one instinct hero. I guess with Shatterstar, your deck's probably going to be full with instinct heroes because hopefully you're going to be cloning a lot. So a little bit of negative there, but I still think Elsa Bloodstone is just a really solid hero, and she also rescues bystanders with Monster Hunter, so being able to pad your VP with that, which is really good, get up to Savior a lot quicker. I think Elsa Bloodstone is a very good pick here. And then for our third suggestion, I mean, I think what we're looking for is just range cards and instinct cards to help out with Shatterstar. I think that's kind of the main thing, because I'm not really stressed about Ruby Summers, and I think Elsa Bloodstone is going to cover Steve Rogers. So I would say like Richter is a pretty solid hero in this instance. He's just kind of good overall, and he's the right classes we're looking for. He gets a little card draw with Unearthed Tectonic Power. He can start shattering some villains that are in the sewers, which is good. So we can take those out to get the bystanders off them faster. Overall, I think Richter can do a really good job. I think the other one I would say you could go with, let's see, where are you? Black Swan is also one that could provide some good things here. I actually really like Dark Foretelling. Just to know what's coming in terms of the villain deck is a very, very strong ability. But we should be able to activate both of these on a pretty decent, consistent basis. So we can kind of combine Black Swan with Ruby Summers, maybe a little bit, and then a little bit into Shatterstar, which is a good move. Yeah, Black Swan could do a good one. A couple other ones I was kind of looking at. Let's see, looking at my list here. The other one that I think could potentially work is actually Agent X13. The main thing about, mainly because she's a shield hero, she can work pretty decently well with Steve Rogers. She also provides us with 3 different hero classes across her commons and uncommon cards. That way it can boost up Steve Rogers' common card in terms of the recruit and the attack that it provides. Also, she's pretty specific, so you really want to bring her in when you already have another shield hero a hero from the shield team in order to activate like woman at a time, get extra attack from from paramilitary ops. I think Agent X13 could be a pretty big one. I know that when you choose your heroes, you don't get to reselect them again, so you kind of want to find these niche cases where, you know, it's like, oh, I should choose Agent X13 right here because she is decently narrow, and try not to choose another hero who's maybe a little more broad and be able to slot into many different setups. Whereas, like I said, Agent X13 is pretty specific in terms of what she wants. So anyways, that is going to be my setup, my hero suggestions for pod number 16. Good luck to you guys. I hope everything turns out very well. Let's get set up for the next one. All right, let's jump into pod number 17. This is Mole Tide. So the mastermind is Mole Man. The scheme is Earthquake drains the ocean, then it's going to flip over to Tsunami crashes at the East Coast. For the villain deck, we have Subterranea, Dark Avengers, and Infinity Gems for the villains. For the henchmen, we have Hydra bases, which is kind of a gimme, if I'm being honest. For the hero deck, we have Blade, Darkhawk, and Iron Fist. Pretty solid setup, I would say. For the special rules, Subterranea cannot burrow if the streets does not exist. Whenever location city space is destroyed, KO that location. Sets that are allowed is going to be Dark City, Fantastic Four, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Revelation. Let's take a peek at our mastermind here in terms of good old Mole Man. The main thing here, he has 7 HP, which is pretty low, but he's going to get +1 attack for each Subterranea villain that has escaped. Escape, not in the city or in your VP, which is pretty dang good. For the Master Strike, all Subterranea villains in the city escape. If any villain escape this way, each player is going to gain a wound. So we just want to keep those Subterraneas out of the city as much as possible. Let's take just a quick peek at them. The main mechanic about them is they have the burrow mechanic. So when you fight them, they're going to move into the streets if the streets are open. So we either want to make sure there's a villain already in the streets when we fight one of these villains with burrow, or fight it when it's in the burrow itself, or we can fight it twice. Which sometimes is kind of the good way to go, because like Moloids, like it's 3 attack, and then you get to KO one of your heroes. So if you fight it when it's outside of the streets, you can fight it, KO a hero, then fight it again and get another KO out of it. So just kind of, you know, pick and choose the best ways to go about it. Let's see, in terms of the scheme we're working on, let's see, we're going to be going into Revelations here. And this one's kind of a timer. This is a timer scheme and a little bit of a gimmick, but I think it's pretty dang fun, actually. Earthquake drains the ocean. So there's going to be 11 twists in the villain deck, and we're going to add an extra villain group. Special rules. There are 2 extra low tide city spaces on the left side of the city. So there's going to be a total of 7 spaces total. When a twist is drawn, the tide rushes in. The scheme is going to transform. And evil is going to win when 3 villains per player have escaped or the villain deck runs out. What happens when it transforms, you may ask? Let's take a peek at that right now. And what that's going to do is there's new special rules. The low tide, bridge, and the street city spaces no longer exist. The city space has 3 total spaces. Put this scheme on the streets to mark the edge of the city. Villains in the destroyed city space escape starting from the left. Twist. The tide rushes out. The scheme transforms. Then play another card from the villain deck in the same win clause. So basically your city is going to be increasing by quite a bit and then shrinking down by quite a bit as well. So not much we can do about it, but just try and keep the city nice and empty for us if possible. Taking a look at our villain side of things, not a ton of things we really have to worry about. I would say, let's see. I think they're down here. Dark Avengers. I mean, yeah, not asking too much of us. Maybe a little bit of instinct here with Dark Wolverine, but that's about it. Let's actually just scooch on. Let's move up to our heroes. So, our first one up is Blade. Blade is very good because he's generically strong, and he also has the ability to move villains around in the city with his Stalk the Prey, which is going to be pretty decent if we want to be taking out Subterranean villains at a quicker pace. He is based on locations in terms of he wants to do fights villains while they're in specific locations. So just kind of keep that in mind, but he does bring us a variety of 3 different hero classes, and all of his cards are pretty dang strong. So we don't have to worry about him too much. Let's take a look at our next hero in Revelations. And looks like we got Darkhawk to talk about. So Darkhawk he's a decently strong hero, I would say. He's kind of a couple things going on for him. So for like Balance the Dark Force, we want to have some tech heroes, so we can do some card draw. Blade does provide him with his uncommon, but we're looking for more for common cards in order to activate that. Hawk Dive is going to hyperspeed for 4 and give us recruit or attack based on what we choose. So we're kind of looking. So let's see, is it choose 1 or attack? So it doesn't really ask us too much. We basically just need those icons and kind of just a knowledge in terms of what cards are in our deck for travel to null space. If the most recent hero you played this turn has a star icon, you get +3. If it has an attack icon, you can get +3. So his Hawk Dive and travel to null space. Kind of the main thing we want to do is we want to have heroes that do have attack and have recruit symbols on it as well. That way we can get most benefit out of Hawk Dive and also his uncommon card as well to get that extra boost. So Darkhawk, we got some couple things established for him. Maybe a tech card so we can draw that card off of Balance the Dark Force would be pretty next week. And the next hero we have set up is going to be Iron Fist. Now, Iron Fist is a very, very strong hero because he's just generically strong. You can throw him into almost any setup and he's going to do some work. So he's going to be getting attack or recruit based on the number of hero costs that you have. So if we can, so looking at our costs, actually notice that all of the common cards cost 3 or 4, which is exactly what Iron Fist's cards cost. So we definitely are going to start looking for a variety. We want to have some 1 cost, some 2 costs, probably some 5 and 6 costs if possible. Luckily, he does bring along Ancient Legacy, which does give him 1. So I think if we can just kind of focus on the costs and make sure Iron Fist is strong, then I think we're going to be fine because he's going to be kind of the guy that goes in between. We can have, a Darkhawk deck and a Blade. Well, actually, like Blade's pretty generic too. So really, we just have Darkhawk to kind of build something off of. So there's kind of a couple different ways we can go here. But in terms of the hero setup, I would say the first one that fit the bill I thought of immediately was Domino. Domino is very good. She focused around kind of this versatile thing in terms of ready for anything. And if we can activate Lucky Break with another X-Force hero, we do get Versatile 1. Which is pretty dang good. I don't think, let me just double check. That's a Marvel Knight. I'm like 99% sure. An Adventure. So we don't really have a way to activate this right now, but honestly, if we just play this just to draw the card and then it has attack and recruit symbols so we can get some bonuses from hyperspeed and things like that, I think that's pretty dang good. Specialized Ammunition is going to give you 4 attack or 4 recruit based on the card you discard. So once again, we want heroes that do have attack and recruit icons, but we do have a decent amount of that between Domino and Darkhawk himself. So not too bad. I would say the next hero you could pick in this situation is going to be Elektra. Now, what's really cool about her is a lot of times I feel like people look at 1 and 2 cost heroes and they're like, "Ooh, okay, that can basically go in a Spider-Man deck and that's it." What's great about Elektra is she doesn't ask that of you. She basically just has some lower costing cards, which is great. And especially First Strike only costing 1 is a big deal. But what's nice about it is I guess not nice, but one thing you want to kind of keep in mind is you want to be able to kind of split these cards up between the players because only the first one is going to give you that extra attack. If you play another one after that, it's just going to give you that 1, which just isn't really good enough. It just doesn't get there. So you can kind of split those up as much as you need, but actually all of these costs we don't have currently in terms of making Iron Fist really, really work. We basically have 3 costs, 4 costs, and a couple 6s in there. But yeah, having 10 common cards that all cost 1 or 2, very, very good pick in terms of helping out Iron Fist right there. The one thing it does want us to have is some cover cards. First Strike can provide that for us, but Blade also has 1 at common, so we can use that to keep that activated as well. So far, I think we're doing pretty good. The next one, we have a couple different options here, I would say. A lot coming from this one, but I feel like you could do like I said, we basically have Darkhawk is kind of giving us a path we want to go down, and Blade and Iron Fist are kind of generically strong. So the next couple of cards you pick, the heroes you pick can be kind of a synergistic between themselves, but try and make sure it ties in with the other ones at least a little bit. I think you could potentially pick out Punisher as one to bring in some tech cards in there to help out with Darkhawk, but also, you'll be able to activate Boom Goes the Dynamite. You can use that to start KOing some cards, drawing them as well. I think that's a pretty good pick right there. The next, like the other one you could do, let's see, I think you could do like Ghost Rider. We actually have Iron Fist, which is going to, Iron Fist and Blade. Is Blade a Marvel Knight hero? I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah, he is. So we have a lot of Marvel Knight heroes, which means that Ghost Rider's Hell on Wheels is going to be activated on a pretty consistent basis, giving you that 4 recruit off of 1 card. Great pick there. Blazing Hellfire can hand out a decent amount of damage as long as you KO cards from out of your VP, which is a little rough just because you're losing that VP. But if it's going to help you win, that's what really matters, to be honest. But he also brings a 5 cost to help out with Iron Fist, and Infernal Chains is a 2 cost, which is going to help out with Iron Fist as well. A couple other ones. These are ones I was kind of looking at, but I really wasn't sure. Gamora was one I was kind of taking a peek at. I was kind of looking kind of like in this Kind of looking for instinct heroes. The other one, let's see. I was looking at Hellcat to bring along those instinct heroes as well. Speed was kind of on my mind if I wanted to go, kind of do a hyperspeed type of thing. I mean, there was a couple little ideas in it right there, but I would say, yeah, like Domino, Electro, Punisher, and Ghost Rider. I think those are all pretty solid picks, and I hope they work out for you guys. So that's going to be pod number 17. Thanks for everybody for joining along with this little adventure with me. Hope you guys have a great time, and good luck to you guys. All right, let's take a look at pod number 18. This is What Big Wounds You Have, which is pretty dang good. This is a fun little setup, actually. For the Mastermind, we have Killmonger. For the Scheme, we have the Mark of Khonshu. For the Villain deck, we have Killmonger's Lead, Demons of Limbo, and Khonshu Guardians for the Henchmen. And then we also have another Khonshu Guardians, which is going to be Beast Illuminati. That's a hero class that's going to be attached to the Villain deck. For the heroes, we have White Wolf, Wolfsbane, and Werewolf by Night. Great setup. Some very strong heroes in there. For the sets that are allowed, we have Black Panther, Midnight Suns, Secret Wars Volume 2, and the New Mutants. Let's jump into our setup here. First, we're going to be taking a look at Killmonger. He's a pretty unique mastermind and very interesting. So he has 5 HP, which is pretty low. But while Killmonger has more than 0 HP, you cannot fight him. Instead, you may spend attack equal to his attack to wound him, meaning his HP is going to be permanently go down by 1, and you need to do that 5 times in order to actually fight him to gain a tactic and weaken him. For the Master Strike, each player must reveal 4 different hero classes or gain 1 of the wounds on Killmonger, which is a huge pain. Any player who cannot do either must discard down to 4 cards. So pretty brutal Master Strike, I would say. In terms of the hero classes, so we want a very large variety of hero classes so we can stop those Master Strikes from occurring. Dual class cards are a huge boost to preventing that from occurring. So keep that in mind as you're selecting out your heroes. The next one we want to look at, I believe, comes from Secret Wars Volume 2, if I'm remembering correctly. It's going to be the Mark of Khonshu, which is right there. So 10 twists, always include Khonshu Guardians. Add all 14 cards for an extra hero to the villain deck. Special rules, heroes in the villain deck are Khonshu Guardians, villains with attack equal to their printed cost, while in the sewers, rooftops, or bridge, they are in wolf form and have double their attack. When you defeat one, gain it as a hero. Whenever you draw a twist, you're going to play 2 cards from the villain deck, which is really difficult. But Evil is going to win when 7 Khonshu Guardians escape, including both villain and henchman. So not a ton we can do in this situation. Just try and keep the city clear. Basically, it's basically a timer scheme in terms of that. Taking a look at our villains, it looks like we don't have to worry about that really at all. Let's take a quick peek at Beast. He's going to be inside the villain deck, and we're probably going to be gaining his cards. So he doesn't ask a ton of us. The one thing that's nice about it is he does provide us with all dual class hero cards, which is really dang good in terms of preventing us from gaining wounds from Killmonger. He does have a lot of synergies with other strength and tech cards, so it's something we can kind of keep in mind, but it just depends on how the deck is drawn and who has the right attack at the right time in order to defeat him to gain it. So I wouldn't say you bank on him too much. Upside Down Thinking is definitely a card that is pretty generic. It can go in either deck. You don't really have to worry about a specific deck like collecting as many beast cards as possible, but that could be an avenue you go down if you see enough of these cards. So let's take a look at our next, we're going to jump into the heroes now. First one up is White Wolf. Now, White Wolf was one of the first ones I thought of. I was going to actually select as one of my heroes, but then I noticed it was already included in it. The main kind of big one she can do is she's wounding villains through Cloaking Tech ambush, but the big one is she can wound the Mastermind, which is really good in terms of secret assignments. So we really want to have a bunch of tech cards to activate Cloaking Tech, but we also want to have a bunch of covert cards in order to activate Secret Assignment. Now, the rough part is Killmonger wants us to have a variety of hero classes, and right now we're kind of being incentivized to kind of focus in. But yeah, overall, great hero cards. I'm a huge fan of playing her, and I hope it works out pretty well in this setup. Let's see. Let's take a look at our next one. This is going, but yeah. Asking us for covert and tech cards is kind of the main thing. Let's take a look. We're going to be switching over to Midnight Suns. Taking a look at Werewolf by Midnight. Very good card. Honestly, at first glance, it felt very like, oh, it's asking us to be in Moonlight, kind of the main thing. But honestly, I feel like it's just not that difficult to in order to achieve. So he's pretty generically strong. He's going to be drawing cards with Starlit Path. Snarling Fangs is just very good, especially when it's in Moonlight. And then his uncommon card, Release the Beast, is just great. I mean, being able to get 3 recruit, and then a certain amount of attack through Blood Frenzy. Very good. So pretty happy for him to come along. Let's see, does that help out with, doesn't really help out with Beast in terms of that, and doesn't really help out with White Wolf. So we're kind of looking for maybe some other cards that do provide Moonlight. Looks like White Wolf does provide us with 1 at common with a 3 cost, and then a couple at uncommon with the uncommon. Let's take a look at our next one. This is going to be, oh wait, hold on. Oh, whoops, I skipped over that one. That's okay. Let's take a look at Wolfsbane, who's going to be from the New Mutants cycle. Great expansion, in my opinion. I really like these heroes. For Wolfsbane, she wants us to be in Moonlight, which is good. Have you noticed, by the way, there's a theme of wolves going around. But no, she wants us to be in Moonlight, so she provides us with plenty of odd costing cards. She can swap heroes out of the HQ in order to get new ones, so she could potentially get the Moonlight mechanic going. Overall, Wolfsbane is a pretty fun card to play as long as you have the odd costing cards in order to activate it. Just one thing to kind of keep in mind is she does give you a little bit of top deck knowledge with Night Vision and with Howl of the Moon. So maybe there's something we can kind of take advantage of there, but we'll just have to see how that goes. Okay, so basically what we're looking for is we're looking for dual class cards. We're looking for some covert and tech cards in order to help activate White Wolf's card. Let's see. Actually, I guess let's see. Wolfbane provides instinct and strength cards, so that doesn't really help out White Wolf. So we're really looking for some strong White Wolf in terms of synergy, I would say. Let's see. Let's take a look at some suggestions. I would say Morbius could do a pretty good job here. He does provide us with 2 common cards to help activate White Wolf. And honestly, Blood Frenzy is just a really bonkers strong card. He also provides with 2 common cards at odds, so this can help out with Moonlight. Overall, there's a lot of things to like about Morbius, and I think if you brought him along, I think you'd be kind of making the right call there. In terms of helping out White Wolf and fighting against Killmonger, I would think King Black Panther could do some good things. We don't really have ways. Usually, I like to have 2 whole hero cards that really deal around with the Throne's favor in order to take advantage of it, but not too big of a deal. But I think he's going to provide some tech cards and some tech cards and some cover cards to help activate White Wolf. And he's also a Black Panther hero, so that can help activate White Wolf's uncommon card here as well. So I think King Black Panther could do some pretty good work in this one. The other one I was kind of looking at, there's a lot of wolf stuff going around here, which I think is pretty dang funny. So I was trying to think of another. I scrolled through all of them looking for another hero that had wolf or was related to a wolf, so I could suggest it. And I kind of came across Soul Sword Colossus. So he often says, "By the White Wolf," like that's kind of his catchphrase. So I thought that was a pretty funny little pick there. But what's great about it is he kind of does what we want. So he has a dual class card in Steel Interceptions to help out with Killmonger. Provides us with 2 cover cards in order to activate White Wolf's common card, and then just he's got some wound preventions, which is really good, something we're probably going to be dealing with. Just overall pretty dang happy with this. Just a weird little aside from the Discord channel. So this card brought up Invade the Inferno up on the channel. If you notice, it says once this turn you may fight the top card of the bystander stack as if it were 3 attack. Demon villains with fight KO one of your heroes. So nowhere in that does it state that you actually rescue that hero, which I thought, or rescue that bystander after you fight them, which I found pretty interesting. And then one of the members of the Discord did bring up the rule sheet that it actually specifically says that if you fight one of these bystanders, you're actually rescuing it as well. So I just thought that was a kind of a funny little moment we had there. Let's see overall. So yeah, honestly, sorry, that was a little mess up there. No, overall, I think these are some great picks for you guys. Let's see. I also had Elsa Warlock on here. Is that really going to help out? Let's see. Is that actually going to help out? A, B, C, D, E. Let's see. Well, she does have multi-class cards. She also has a tech and a covert card with Monster Hunter. That's pretty dang good. Get some KOing abilities with Bloodstone Pendant, which we do want multi-class cards. I guess Defend the Shield Wall is kind of the blank here, but Bloodstone Pendant is really dang good, and we also get Monster Hunter. So I could see Elsa Bloodstone being a decent pick in this situation as well, just mainly due to her classes. But she does provide some KO cards with Bloodstone Pendant, which is pretty sweet. So that's going to be wrapping up for pot number 18. Good luck to you guys. I hope everything turns out well, and we'll see you next time. All right, let's take a look at pod number 19. This is a pretty cool setup. Like this is pretty fun. So the mastermind's going to be Indestructible Man. The scheme is Unite the Shards. The villain deck is Elite Assassins, Kree Starforce, and the Magia Goons. For the hero deck, we have Professor X, Psylord, and the Punisher. Special rules: whenever he has shards regarding Indestructible Man or not, don't spend any attack when you fight Indestructible Man by returning Elite Assassins to the villain deck. However, fighting him this way will still gain you one of his shards. Return the rest of the supply. Just little things to keep in mind. For the sets that are allowed, we have Annihilation, Black Widow, Dark City, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's take a look at our Mastermind, which is going to be from the Black Widow expansion. So he's pretty different. So he just has star attack. So what does that mean? You can't use attack to fight Indestructible Man. Once during each of your turns, you may shuffle 2 Elite Assassin cards from your victory pile into the villain deck if you do fight Indestructible Man. Master Strike, shuffle an Elite Assassin from your VP into the villain deck. If you can't, each player gains a wound. So we have to, in order to fight him, we have to discard cards from a certain specific villain group. So what that tells me is we kind of want to be digging for those cards as fast as possible so we can take them out very, very quickly. So not too bad of a plan there, I would say, but he doesn't ask us for specific hero classes or anything like that, which is good. Let's take a look at our scheme here, which is Unite the Shards. There's going to be 30 shards in the supply, twists equal to the number of players plus 5. The twist: stack this twist next to the scheme. Then for each twist in that stack, the mastermind gains a shard, which is pretty interesting. The Indestructible Man doesn't really care about having shards. His HP doesn't actually, like his HP, like you can still fight him even if he has shards on them, basically. So I'm not really sure. This setup it's just kind of counterintuitive. Not counterintuitive, but this setup is pretty unique in that situation because what's going to be happening is we're going to be putting those shards on Indestructible Man. They're not really going to affect you in any way, but you can then, as it says in the special rules, you can spend 2 Recruit in order to gain one of those shards. So I feel like what this is telling us is that Recruit is going to be kind of king in this situation because we can use that in order to gain attack through the shards that we're gaining because of the scheme. So not too shabby there. Now, we are going to be dealing with the Elite Assassin villain group by quite a bit because they're going to be getting shuffled back into the deck pretty often. So what that tells me is the one card we do want to keep an eye out is Blue Talon. We do it when there's an ambush ability, we have to reveal a range hero or gain a wound. So we don't really want that to occur very often. So I'm actually showing this villain group because I really do think we need to have some range heroes in order to prevent that from occurring. Let's see. Let's take a look at our next one. Let's see. It looks like we're just jumping into the hero setup. So let's take a look at Professor X from Dark City here. Hold on a little quick there. Professor X is pretty dang good. I really like Sonic Astroform. It's a 2-costing card that pretty often is going to give you 3 attack, which is bonkers good. And then Professor X, Classes Miss can refreshen up the hero deck, which is great, and start KOing cards as well. The Telepathic Probe lets you look at the top card of the villain deck and you can fight it if it's a villain. I honestly, in this situation, you kind of want to dig to those Elite Assassins as fast as possible. So this might be actually a situation where that ability really comes in handy. So what it asks of us is it wants us to have some X-Men heroes and also a couple Instinct ones as well. And I think we'll be able to provide that in order to maximize Professor X's impact on this game. Next hero we want to be taking a peek at is Psylord. He's pretty interesting. His kind of main mechanic is looking at the top card of the villain deck and gaining benefits off of it. For example, Avert Future Tragedy. We're going to be shuffling Master Strikes away and getting some extra value off of that, which is really good. If we look at the top card and it's a bystander, we get extra attack. And if we reveal the top card of the villain deck, if it's villain, we get +1 attack, and you may fight it this turn. So once again, all of these cards are telling us we want to be fighting the cards in the villain deck before they hit the city, so we can avoid the ambush abilities and we can dig for the Elite Assassins, which we do need to do anyway. So yeah, I'm pretty down for Psylord. He wants us to have some covert and instinct heroes, so we can activate those abilities on a pretty consistent basis. Let's see. Let's take a look at our other hero, which is going to be the one and only the Punisher. So the Punisher wants us to basically just have tech cards, and he's also revealing cards on the top of the deck and getting attack points based on that. So he's doing a pretty good job. But yeah, overall, pretty happy to see him, just mainly because he does provide us some KO abilities with Boom Goes the Dynamite. So we'll have to see how that turns out. He does want us to have some tech cards. Looks like Psylord and Professor X don't really provide any of that. And in terms of instinct, Professor X does have an instinct hero, but not really a strong amount. And then looks like, does Sylar have some covert? He does have some covert. So that does kind of help alleviate a little bit of the pressure, but we still want a little bit more. In terms of the heroes we're looking at, the first one I kind of looked at, I think we can, because the thing is this. So Professor X, Psylord, and Punisher, I feel like, I guess Punisher is asking some stuff of us, but it's just kind of tough. Like Professor X isn't really asking a ton of us. Maybe some instinct heroes. Psylord covers that. We're really just trying to dig for those villain groups as quickly as possible. And I think Recruit is kind of king in this situation to start removing those shards from Indestructible Man. And it's definitely, it's interesting here. One of the ones I looked at, honestly, was actually a combination setup. So the first one was actually Bishop. Does provide us some range cards to help out. Not really anywhere. Oh, no, well, no, Professor X doesn't need range cards. But either way, he's activated by covert cards, which Sylar can help him do in order to get those KO abilities running. But kind of the main thing I was looking at, let's see, why? Oh yeah, just to help out with Professor X, because I was looking at, actually, I think this might work out. It's going to be Iceman. Iceman, if you grab Bishop and you grab Iceman, I think it might be worth it. He is an X-Men hero, so we can help activate Professor X's cards as well. And there's just enough, with Bishop and with Iceman himself. Let's see, Oh, and with Professor X, I mean, we have plenty of ranged heroes, and in order to keep Deep Freeze and Ice Slide, providing quite a bit of a lot of attack and recruit. So I think if you do Bishop and you do Iceman, that could be a pretty good pickup. The other one I was looking at was Nightcrawler. He does provide us with some covert cards to help out with Psylord. He also provides us with some instinct cards in order to help activate Psylord and Professor X as well. Plus, he's just generically strong. He can kind of fit into anything in order to in order to be good. I mean, teleporting cards is always very, very strong just because you can use it when you absolutely need it, and you can end up with some monster-sized hands because you've been teleporting your cards on such a consistent basis. The other one I was taking a peek at was to kind of help out with Punisher, and I know they're all coming from Dark City, but Dark City is just a great expansion. I was looking at Forge. He's just full tech cards. He gets a little card selection with Reboot. Overdrive gives you Versatile 3, which is very strong. If you have this and Punisher in a deck, I think you're going to be pretty dang happy with that, and it's going to lead to some wins. So let's see. I think that's basically all I had set up for this one. Let's see. We're digging for the Assassins. We're dealing with this. Recruit is kind of what we want. Yeah, no, overall, pretty happy with that. So good luck to everyone in pot number 19. I wish you the most success possible. All right, let's jump into pot number 21. This is Teenage Mutant Army Hurdles. For the setup, we have General Thunderbolt Ross as the mastermind. The scheme is Drain Mutant Powers 2. This is a veiled scheme, and we'll go over that in just a second. For the villain deck, we have Code Red and Hydra Elite. For the henchman, we have Death's Head. For the hero deck, we have Hellcat, Quicksilver, and Sakaar, Son of Hulk. For the special rules, you may attempt the setup twice, but if you unveil the scheme during attempt number 1, you may no longer swap either of your hero choices for attempt number 2. And then you're going to click on that. It's going to tell you what the veiled scheme is. So I'm not going to spoil that, and I didn't take that into considerations. So I never read what it turns into. For the sets that are allowed, there's going to be Messiah Complex, Revelation Shield, and World War Hulk. Let's jump into this and see what we're dealing with here. For the World War Hulk, we're looking for the Mastermind, which is going to be back up, actually. Okay, we're taking a look at Thunderbolt Ross. He's a transforming one. He's got 6 HP, but we're going to stack 8 bystanders next to the General Ross as helicopters. Villains worth 2 attack. You can fight them to rescue them as bystanders. You can't fight General Ross while he has any helicopters. So we do have some bystanders flying around, so maybe a little bystander synergy wouldn't hurt, but it's going to transform into Red Hulk, which is 9 attack, but has Wounded Fury, so it's going to gain +1 attack for every single wound in your discard pile. You can't fight helicopters, and they don't stop you from fighting Red Hulk. Master Strike, Red Hulk transforms, then stack a random bystander from each player's victory pile next to this as a helicopter. Each player who didn't have a bystander gains a wound instead. So we definitely want bystanders in our victory pile and gaining them on a pretty consistent basis, I would say. Okay, let's take a look at the scheme here, at least the first half of it right now. So we have Drain Mutant Powers. So 11 twists. The twist is twist 1 to 6, stack the top 2 cards of the sidekick stacked face down next to the scheme as kidnapped mutants. If there were any kidnapped mutants already there, put those on the bottom of the sidekick stack and put this twist next to the mastermind as a drained power. Special rules: players may spend 3 recruit or 3 attack to gain a kidnapped mutant. Twist: KO all kidnapped mutants. This scheme transforms into a random unveiled scheme do its twist effects. So not really too much we can do in terms of stopping this from occurring. Just kind of do the normal stuff. Just try and keep those kidnapped mutants and recruit them or attack them or whatever you need to do to prevent them from getting KO'd. So, excuse me, sorry about that. So yeah, anyways, let's we also have a little bit of sidekick synergies in there because we're going to be gaining them when we rescue them. Okay, we're actually going to talk about a villain setup, and it's going to be Code Red. Now, every single one of them tells us, like, hey, we want you to, there needs to be covert cards. You're going to get benefits from them. We need them to be in the HQ. Bad things will happen if you don't have one, things like that. So this one is clearly telling us you need to have covert cards in order to counteract this villain group for right now. So that's something we're definitely going to be keeping in mind. In terms of the rest of the villain group, we don't have to worry about it too much. So let's scooch on over to our pre-selected heroes. First one up is Hellcat. Hellcat's pretty dang good. We get to look at the top card of any deck. We get to we can kind of manipulate it just a little bit. We just want some more instinct heroes in order to be drawing cards or getting extra attack or extra recruit, things like that. And if we know what the top card of the villain deck is, Demon Sight can get us some benefits off of that as well. So I'm pretty happy with Hellcat. As long as we can probably bring along 1 to 2 more instinct heroes at the common level, I think we'll be able to activate her pretty frequently, and we'll be pretty dang happy with that. Let's see. For the next one, we do have Quicksilver, who is just down here, actually. Quicksilver is really about hyperspeed. And the thing about hyperspeed, one of the things I've learned is when you hyperspeed, you want to go all out on hyperspeed so you can get those benefits as much as possible. Overall, he's pretty solid. He does want us to have some instinct heroes with too easy to see, which is exactly what we wanted for Hellcat. So that's working out pretty well there. But we can start KOing some cards, and we're going to be doing Hyperspeed 4 with Perpetual Motion as long as we have strength cards. And so far, we don't have any in terms of Hellcat, but we'll see if they pop up. For the next one, looks like we do have Scar, which is right about here. He's fine. I don't think Wounded Fury is a very good mechanic. I'm not a huge fan of it, but he does have Anger Management, which lets us smash for 3, giving us 4 attack for 2 cards in essence, which is pretty dang good. Now overall, I'm not too stressed about him. I'm not gonna try and ask too much of him, but he does provide a strength common card for Quicksilver, which is good, and some instinct cards for Hellcat. So we actually already have a little bit of synergy going on just between those three cards, but we do need to add some heroes in order to even everything out. So kind of what we're looking for before we jump in, we want to be looking for some covert cards to counteract Code Red. We want to have some strength cards and some hyperspeed focus like synergies to help out with Quicksilver. And maybe some wound synergy to help out with Scar, but I'm not overly stressed about that. If we got Quicksilver in our deck, we might as well go for the other one, which is going to be Speed. He's doing some stuff with Hyperspeed in terms of Accelerate, but he can put cards on top of your deck by recruiting them, and we can get benefits to that with the Hyperspeed, which is really, really nice. I think he can fit in here pretty well. Brings along some instinct cards to help activate Hellcat pretty frequently. Then has a covert card with Race to the Rescue, so it's pretty good just to diversify a little bit there. Let's see, let's take a look at our next one. The next one is from Messiah Complex, which I'm happy about. And I think we're going to go with M here. I think M could do some pretty decent stuff. She provides some strength cards, so that should help out with Quicksilver's hyperspeeding. But it also have a little bit of wound synergy going on there as well in terms of Penance Form. We do just want some strength cards so we can get those cloning abilities activating pretty consistently. She also provides us with a covert card at Uncommon, which we do need to counteract Code Red. So I really like her. I think she's really fun, especially if we can activate that clone ability. That's like my #1 priority because it's just free basically. So it's pretty dang good. Let's take a look at our last one, which is going to be coming from World War Hulk. And looks like we're going for Gladiator Hulk here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I really like him. He's drawing cards, he's smashing stuff, and then as long as if we discard some cards, we get to do Hulk is King, and when a card effect causes you to discard this card, you may return to your hand, which is pretty dang strong. Overall, I'm pretty happy with Gladiator Hulk. I think he does have attack icons in there, so Hyperspeed can nail those at the very least, which is good. Let's see. Now, overall, pretty happy with those picks. I think if you bring those in, 2 out of those 3 into it, I think you're gonna have a pretty fun time. So thank you everybody at pod number 20. Good luck to you guys. I hope all games go well for you. All right, let's take a peek at pod number 21. This is called Hunger Spike. So for the Mastermind, we have the Sentry. For the Scheme, we have Build an Army of Annihilation. For the Annihilation Wave Henchmen, which are attached to the Scheme, is the Cytoplasm Spikes. For the Villain deck, we have Aspects of the Void and Queen's Vengeance. For the Henchmen, we have the Sakron Hivelings. Excuse me. For the Hero deck, we have Bruce Banner, Jocasta, and Scarlet Witch. It's pretty interesting, honestly. For sets that are allowed, we have Ant-Man Revelations, Secret Wars Volume 1, and World War Hulk. I feel like we're going to need a lot of help here for this hero deck in order to work it out. So let's see what we got going on here. Let's look at, let's see, that's a World War Hulk one. So let's look down at Sentry and see what we're dealing with here. I know the artwork is terrifying though. Where'd you go? There we go. So we got the Sentry. So he has 10 HP. Start of the game, shuffle 2 wounds into each player's deck before drawing starting hands. Ugh, that's so frustrating. If you get lucky and draw 2 of them in one hand, just go ahead and KO both of them. Just take the turn off. It's going to be worth it. For the Master Strike, it's going to transform, and then it's going to do Cross-Dimensional Void Rampage. Then we have the Void. He has 11 HP, he has Wounded Fury, so any wounds in your discard pile is going to increase his HP. When a Master Strike is drawn, he's going to feast on each player. If this feasts on a player's gray hero, that player gains a wound, and the Void transforms. So if we can have ways to prevent wounds or KO wounds on a pretty consistent basis, I think that's probably going to be decent. I mean, we only have a handful of Master Strikes, so this isn't going to do it all the time. But still, wounds just, wounds really stink. They're not fun to play with. Let's take a look at our Build an Army of Annihilation, which I believe is in this one. Oh, it's not. That's embarrassing. Which, this from, oh, it's Secret Wars. That's what it is. All right, Build an Army of Annihilation. So there's 9 twists. We're going to put 10 extra Annihilation Wave Henchmen in the KO pile. Twist, KO all Annihilation Henchmen from players' victory piles. Stack this twist next to the Scheme. Then for each twist in that stack, put an Annihilation Henchman from the KO pile next to the Mastermind. Players can fight those henchmen. If there's ever 10 Annihilation Henchmen next to the Mastermind, Evil's going to win. So in order for us to understand this a little better, let's take a look at our Henchman group, because we got a couple rough ones here. We're actually going to look at the Hivelings too, because they're right there. So Cytoplasm Spikes are the one up. So when we fight them, it's going to feast. So we're going to be repeatedly hitting this thing pretty dang frequently. And if it feasts on a non-gray hero, we're going to gain some recruit. So it's definitely a little tough, just because we are going to be doing quite a bit of feasting. And same with the Hivelings, actually. This is the henchman that's just in the villain deck. When we fight them, we're going to look at the top card of our deck, and we're going to put it back on the top or bottom, and then it's going to feast again. So we're going to be KOing cards at a very, very consistent rate. So what this kind of tells me is we want to know what's on top of our deck before we fight one of these guys in order for them to feast. So some top deck knowledge or some top deck manipulation, I think, is going to go quite a long way in this setup. Let's see. So that pretty much wraps up all of that. Let's take a look at our heroes and see what we're going to need to do to help them out here. Let's see. Let's scooch on up to Bruce Banner. Right here. Bruce is pretty good. He basically just wants us to be able to outwit things so we can activate his Gambit Bond Disaster and solve the impossible. He does provide some tech cards, which is really good. And then Dangerous Testing, we do get to look at the top card of our deck. If it costs 0, we do get to KO it. So we do get to look at it, which is good. If it costs 0 KO, so you will KO it. So that's a little bit rougher. But still, no, I think Bruce Banner's pretty solid. He's, like I said, he's not really asking too much of us. We can provide that for him. For the next hero, we have Jocasta. Now, she's asking a couple things of us. She basically wants us to have tech cards. Creation of Ultron is going to get empowered by tech, which is fine, and then we get to draw some cards off Holographic Image Inducer if it's ever activated. And right now, let's see, Bruce Banner and Jocasta. I guess let's see, that's providing some tech cards, which doesn't really do too much. Oh no, it does Dangerous Testing. So Jocasta is going to bring along some tech cards, and that'll activate that one. So pretty, yeah, we're perfectly fine with that. And for our third hero, we have the Scarlet Witch. Now she deals with a lot of cards on the top of your deck. So what that kind of tells me is So for example, like Hexbolt, we get to play copies of cards that are on top of our deck if we can activate it through a ranged hero. Pretty strong, powerful card, especially for one that only costs 2. But if we can know what's on top of our deck or put something there, we should be able to get kind of full value out of it, which is pretty nice. After Reality wants us to have some covert cards and have a very wide variety of hero classes, so we can take advantage of the Dark Memories. One thing to keep in mind is dual classes work really well when it comes to that situation. So let's look forward to that. Overall, I think she's perfectly fine as long as we can get some top deck knowledge, which is what we want to be getting anyway. Okay, let's take a look at our first suggestion. I feel like he just fits the bill so well. Let's see. Where did he go? Look for Rick Jones. Rick Jones does quite a lot of things here, and kind of the main thing is he provides us with a variety of cards so we can help out with Scarlet Witch's card. He provides some tech cards in order to help activate with Bruce Banner and Jocasta as well. We get a little bit of top deck knowledge with these 2 reveal cards, which is pretty nice. So we can know if we want to feast it or not. And then, like I said, I feel like he just does quite a lot of different things. So pretty happy with that setup. Let's take a look at our next one. And I think we can, let's see. This one's pretty dang good. Pretty generically strong. We have Apocalyptic Kitty Pryde, so she can use her Infiltrate HQ to kind of mess with the HQ, get it to be able to be activated for a lot more stuff when it comes to empowerment, which is good. But Phase Out can do some KOing, which is really nice. And then Disrupt Circuits is a dual class card, which is good. And it basically just says get empowered by tech cards. I feel like this card's a little outdated just because, I don't know, I just feel like it's not very extremely strong for an uncommon card that costs 5. But overall, I think about Apocalyptic pretty Kitty Pryde can put in some work, I would say. Another hero I was taking a look at was actually Superior Iron Man. I think that, let's see, where'd you go? There you go. He has basically all the classes we want, and his common card, Optimized Technology, is a dual class card, which is really good. And then Superior to Others lets you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, so you can use that in order to know what's on top, so you want to know if you want to feast or not. No, overall, I think that's pretty dang good. A couple other heroes I was thinking about in terms of like top deck knowledge that we can use is like Miek the Unhived works pretty dang decent with this. We're going to be drawing cards if we KO in terms of his Endless Appetite. We get to feast ourselves, but the thing is, we're not really looking to be feasting very often. I would say the other hero we could, if we wanted to bring on Milek, is going to be Hellcat. She provides a lot of boosts for if we're playing with some instinct heroes, but we do get to start looking at the top card of any deck, which is pretty nice. And then Demon Sight's going to be getting some extra benefits if we know what's on top of the villain deck. So those are my selections for pot number 21, though. I hope this goes really well. I feel like this one's going to be really difficult in terms of how much feasting that's actually going to be going on. This might be kind of a situation where it's like I basically just try and lose the best, I would say. I don't know. I don't know how well this setup is going to go. Let's see. I want to take a look at build an army of Nihilus. It's pretty straightforward. Anyways, good luck to you guys in pot number 21. I hope everything goes well, and we'll see you next time. All right, let's take a look at pot number 22. This is fake. Most of the stuff in here is fake. Mastermind is Mysterio. The scheme is Forge the Infinity Gauntlets. For the villain deck, we have Sinister Six, the Infinity Gems, and for the henchmen, we have the Phalanx. For the heroes, we have Cable, Silver Surfer, and Symbiote Spider-Man. For the special rules, the all-win condition, control 4 Infinity Gem artifacts counts as a win. And then for the sets allowed, we have Dark City, Fantastic Four, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Paint the Town Red. Let's jump into our let's jump into our setup here. Let's take a look at Mysterio. Mysterio's ranked as one of the most fun masterminds to play against. He's basically has AHP, which is pretty low, but a lot of his master strikes are getting put into his tactic pile, so you have to fight him quite a lot. So there's not really a ton we can do in order to stop it, but just kind of sit back and enjoy, to be honest, because he's a pretty good pretty fun mastermind to play against. Let's take a look at the Infinity Gauntlet here. So Forge the Infinity Gauntlet, there's 8 twists, and we're going to always include the Infinity Gems villain group. For the twist, when a twist is drawn, starting to your left and going clockwise, the first player with an Infinity Gem artifact card in play or in their discard pile chooses one of those Infinity Gems to enter the city, then put a shard on each Infinity Gem in the city. Evil's going to win when the 6 Infinity Gem villains are in the city and or escape pile, and Evil's going to win when a player controls 4 Infinity Gem artifacts. That player is corrupted by power, that player wins, Evil wins, and all other players lose. So just a fun little achievement unlocked. I kind of hope somebody pulls it off in this tournament. I think that'll be pretty fun. Okay, so we do actually have some villain groups that we do want to take a very quick peek at. First one up is going to be the Sinister Six. A lot of them ask us to have some instinct heroes in order to prevent like wounds or discarding cards, things like that. So if we can get at least 2 cards that are instinct in the common slot, I think we're going to be fine, but you know, just something to kind of keep in mind. The other one I wanted to take a very quick peek at is actually the Phalanx. They're one of the henchman groups, and we have to have tech cards in order to prevent them from KOing our cards that have an attack symbol on them, which most of the time is going to be cards that cost 1 or more. So we want to avoid that as much as possible. So once again, if we can have like 2 to 3 cards that are tech cards, or 2 to 3 groups of cards that are tech, so we can prevent that from happening when we take out the Phalanx. Let's see. Let's take a look at the heroes we have available to us. The first one's actually going to come from Dark City, which is great. And we got ourselves good old Cable. Cable doesn't really ask too much of us. His uncommon card, Rapid Response Force, is a great card. It does want us to have some more X-Force heroes so we can get a lot of attack off of it. But like Strike at the Heart of Evil is going to do 4 attack to the Mastermind, which is really dang good. Overall, pretty happy with Cable being in this. He can kind of be the kind of in-between hero. He can kind of be fluid in terms of where he goes. Let's take a look at our next one, which is going to be good old Silver Surfer. Now he's kind of the same long lines of Cable. He doesn't really ask anything of us. For example, what's great about it is like Warp Speed. You play it, it gives you 2 recruit, and then you can spend 2 to focus and draw a card. So basically you can cycle this for itself. You play it, and then you use the 2 recruit to gain 2 draw a card. So something to keep in mind there. Overall, he kind of has this theme of like using recruit in order to defeat villains, gain some extra attack, things like that. I don't think overall, like I said, he doesn't really do too much. So try it. I wouldn't say like make sure you keep him in terms of like basically he doesn't need to be in your equation when you're picking your heroes. Just kind of keep in mind his hero classes he provides. All right, let's take a look at our last hero, and this one's going to be good old Symbiote Spider-Man. The one thing that's really rough about Symbiote Spider-Man is he doesn't really function unless you can draw those cards, those 1 and 2 costing cards. Other than that, he just doesn't do everything he needs. So what that tells me is we just need another hero class that has some 2 costing cards so he can draw some cards off of that. Let's take a look at basically one of the few that we have available to us, and that's going to be good old Elektra. She has 2 cards that cost 1 and 2, and then her uncommon card deals quite a bit of damage in terms of other. And if you play a bunch of cards that cost 1 or 2, you're going to get a bonus from playing those, which is really nice. Overall, Elektra's pretty good. The one thing about First Strike is you do want to kind of divvy it up between the decks, because the first one you play will give you 2 attack, but the other one after that will only give you 1, which just isn't really worth it. So. But overall, Elektra going along with Symbiote Spider-Man, I think could be a pretty decent pick. I think the next one we could suggest, looks like we do, let's see, are we looking for some tech cards? Not really. Well, I guess in terms of the Phalanx, we could do that. So we can kind of do the combo in terms of Dark City. Is going to be Forge, which is he's a very good card. All tech heroes, which is good, and I think he could provide those tech cards we need in order to counteract the Phalanx, which is good. We could also bring along Punisher with Forge, so that we'll be able to activate Boom Goes the Dynamite very consistently, along with Hail of Bullets. Overall, I think that could be a pretty decent match. Let's take a look at our last one, and that one's actually going to come from Paint the Town Red. It's actually going to be Spider-Woman. I think Spider-Woman can do some decent stuff. She's just generically strong, which is always a good thing to have. She's providing, she provides some top deck knowledge in terms of that, but what's kind of great about her is her Bioelectric Shock and her Venom Blast. It's always going to get you, most of the time it's going to get you a card you want anyway, so pretty excited about that. I hope this one was a little difficult for me to kind of figure out, just because a lot of the cards are pretty generic. I do a lot better when things are really narrow, and it's like I need to find the missing piece to this, and this is kind of like the piece is just huge. So anyways, yeah, Pod 22 is a little tough. I wish I had like a really strong, clever answer for this, but really just try and grab the cards that are strong and powerful and use those ones and try not to overstress too much. So thank you to everybody at Pod number 22. Hope you have a great time in the game. All right, let's jump into pod number 23. I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further. For the Mastermind, we have Kingpin. For the Scheme, we have Invisible Force Field. For the Villain deck, we have Streets of New York. Kree Star Force for the villains. For the Henchman, we have Maggia Goons. For the Hero deck, we have Domino, Gamora, and Moon Knight. For the sets that are allowed, we have Dark City, Fantastic Four, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Paint the Town Red. So let's take a peek at our setup here in terms of Dark City. You got Kingpin here. So the big thing about Kingpin, he has 13 HP, which is pretty high, but he has bribes. We can use attack or recruit. So usually what that means is we basically just want big numbers. It doesn't really matter where those numbers come from, but we want them to be big. For the Master Strike, each player is going to has to reveal a Marvel Knight hero or discard their hand and draw 5 cards. That usually is pretty devastating. Just losing that one card is pretty dang crucial. So if we can bring along some Marvel Knight heroes to prevent that from occurring would be a pretty big deal in my opinion. And for the Fantastic Four, for the Invisible Force Field scheme, 7 twists. Stack this twist next to the Mastermind as a force field. Special rules: to fight the Mastermind, you must also spend recruit or attack for each force field next to them. So his HP is just basically going to increase by 1 for every single scheme, and then Evil's going to win when all 7 cards are drawn. So once again, we basically just need big numbers. So that's basically all we really need there. Let's jump into our hero setups for right now. Looks like we got Domino as one of our heroes. She's pretty dang strong, I would say. She's just nice and versatile. You have Rage for anything, which gives you versatile 2. Lucky Break is always going to draw a card, so it's always going to replace itself, which is great, but then if it's activated, it gives you versatile 1. Specialized Ammunition wants us to have cards that have recruit and attack on them, which is really strong. I think this is going to be kind of the silver bullet that's going to take Kingpin out, because this card, you play this card, discard another one, and you get 8 total points of value out of it, basically, to fight Kingpin. So having cards that have recruit and attack on them, I think, is going to be pretty dang crucial in this situation. Let's see. Let's take a look at our next one. Looks like we got Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. She's pretty good. She's going to be handing out some shards to the villains, but hopefully gaining them back. We want to have some cover cards so we can be able to activate Deadliest Woman in the Universe. Probably one of the stronger cards in the whole game, because when you play this, it gives you 2 attack or 2 shards, and then it's going to gain you another one if it's activated. So it's going to give you 3 attack that you can stash, and it's going to be very versatile. So good pick there. But yeah, she wants us to have some covert cards mostly. That's basically what we're shooting for in this situation. So pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Hopefully we can provide some ways to help that out. For our last pre-selected hero, we have Moon Knight. Moon Knight's pretty good. I actually really enjoy playing with Moon Knight. The wall crawl abilities are really nice. Get a little card draw, nothing too complicated. He does want us to have some instinct heroes, which Domino does provide, so we can activate Climbing Claws pretty consistently. And then he wants us to have some tech cards as well, so we can draw them off of Crescent Moon Darts. So overall, we're basically just looking for some covert cards in order to help out with Gamora. Actually, Gamora has an instinct card too, so Climbing Claws is kind of covered. We're basically just looking for covert cards, I think, to kind of help us out there and to kind of get our numbers up nice and big. So one of the suggestions I came up with, I wouldn't say it's like super clever, but I think it'll work, is I think Nightcrawler is going to do pretty good in here. We want some covered cards, so Blend into Shadow is going to help out. Instinct Heroes are also going to help out as well, to help activate with Moon Knight, and we just have a decent amount of them, I guess. But what's great is we can kind of teleport Nightcrawler over and over again, so we can kind of stockpile these big turns we can use to play, teleport, then play a bunch of cards to be able to hit Kingpin. So he kind of acts like little shards, basically, that are a little more versatile. So I think that could work out pretty dang good. I think the next one that would work really nice is going to be X-Force Wolverine. We should be able to activate animal instincts pretty frequently, giving you that 2 attack. Sudden Ambush shouldn't be that difficult in order to activate to draw a card. Domino's going to help us with that. He's also an X-Force hero, so we should be able to activate Domino's common card to get that extra versatile 1, which is good. And then No Mercy is just really good. Drawing a card and KOing card is one of the best, basically take 2 of the best things you can do in this game and staple it onto 1 card. So No Mercy is going to be very, very good. I was having a little difficult with this one, trying to come up with some really good picks. Usually I want to look for cards that give you, if I can get a card that gives me 4 recruit or 4 attack, I'm going to be pretty happy. So I was taking a look at Thing. He does provide us with possibly 4 recruit with Yancey Street. Knuckle Sandwich gives you 3 recruit there, and then 4 with Crime Stopper. So I feel like these are really nice and really big numbers, but I want to be able to activate this a little more confidently. So I thought Invisible Woman could be a pretty decent one. It also gives us some KO abilities with Disappearing Act, but she does provide us with 4 attack with 4 of a kind, which is really good. And then having this will just be another Fantastic Four hero in order to activate things. So if you did Invisible Woman and Thing in the same, pick both of those, I think you'd be pretty set up for the game. So the other one I was looking at, I don't know if it's basically if you just want some covert cards in order to activate like Gamora and to activate Gamora, you could. Oh wait, no. Let's see. Where am I? Oh no, sorry, wrong one. You could bring along Black Cat just because of her classes. She's not too strong. Like I said, the one thing to always keep in mind is that when you select a hero, you can't use that hero again, basically within the tournament unless something wonky happens. So this might be an opportunity to grab and use Black Cat, kind of in a situation where it's like, well, I might as well use her here now because she's a little more niche, but we just need those covert classes in order to activate to help out with Gamora. So could be a decent one. I don't know. Like Pickpocket just is not very good, and it doesn't work 100% well with Gamora. But either way, just something that kind of popped in my head. I thought I'd share with you guys. So either way, good luck to everybody in pod number 23. I wish you good luck, and I hope you guys see success. So have a good. See you next week. Okay, let's move into this next one. This is pod number 24. This is actually the one I'm in. This is Lo-Fi Beats to Chill / Conquer 2. So this one is something else. And I'm not very confident in my picks. So this is going to be a little more freeform than the other ones just because like it's kind of weird. This is a setup that has so many factors that I don't know if you can even really find a way to counteract them. So for the Mastermind, we have Epic Claw. This is an epic Mastermind to keep in mind. Then we have the Scheme, which is Divide and Conquer. For the villain deck, we have Enemies of Wakanda, Ultron's Legacy, and MODOKs for the henchmen. For the hero deck, we have Black Panther, King Black Panther, Apocalyptic Kitty Pryde, and Princess Shuri. Special rules: whenever you need to put a hero from the HQ on the bottom of the hero deck, return it to the deck it came from. So Divide and Conquer is basically going to separate out the hero deck into different hero classes, but we have a lot of multi-class heroes. So we'll go over that in just a second. But for right now, let's take a look at Epic Claw here real quick. So Epic Claw, 10 HP, which is already pretty high, has a claw is quadruple empowered by the color of his sonic frequency. So Master Strike, put the top card of the hero deck next to Claw as a sonic frequency. Put any previous frequencies and each card from the HQ that does not share a color with a new frequency on the bottom of the hero deck. Each player gains a wound. So we're going to be gaining wounds from that. His HP is going to be very high, but just depending on but along with Divide and Conquer, which I believe is a champions scheme, could potentially make sure it doesn't go too out of control. Divide and Conquer. So 8 twists. There's going to be 7 heroes. Sort the hero deck by hero class. So each deck is going to be one of these classes. But if it has multiple classes, there's a tiebreaker. You have to roll a dice to decide if this multi-class card goes in the range pile or the tech pile. Put these 5 smaller shuffled hero decks beneath the 5 HQ spaces. Special rules: whenever an HQ space is empty, fill it with the top card of the hero deck below that space. Twist 1 to 3, KO all heroes in the HQ. Twist 4 to 8, KO one of the hero decks. And evil wins when all the hero decks are gone. So one thing that's kind of difficult if we just look at the setup right now, Black Panther, King Black Panther, and Princess Shuri all have a lot of multi-class cards. So setup, by the way, is going to be kind of a pain, but I'm sure it'll go over very well. Yeah, okay, let's just start. I guess we're just going to start taking a bite out of this as we go, because there's not really anything in terms of the villain deck we have to worry about. Well, let's see. We can take a look at Ultron Legacy real quick. So Ultron Legacy has a very diverse amount of cards that it wants to have. A lot of these get empowered by specific hero classes, but it is kind of one for each of them. So they kind of wash out, but it does have a handful of other cards that are based around tech, like microscopic changing, getting double empowered by them, things like that. So it kind of all evens out, but I would say it wants us to have some tech cards, but some of them are getting empowered by them. So I think we can kind of mostly ignore this one, but I don't know, it's interesting. Let's see, let's just start looking at what we got going on here. So let's go for Black Panther from Secret Wars real quick. So all of his cards are multi-classed. So that's going to be a little difficult, but they're all pretty generically strong. The Multifaceted Genius, I think, is going to be one of the best cards in the whole game because you get +1 attack for each other multicolored card you play this turn, and we already have a huge plethora of them. And I think that's really the only thing it asks of us. So we don't really have to stress about that too much, but I did just marking down, how many different classes each of these cards have, so I can kind of measure and figure out what we need to do from that. Let's see. Let's take a look at King Black Panther, which is from the newest Black Panther set. He's, once again, everything's dual classed as well, but he wants us to have maybe another Black Panther team hero card, wants us to have some instinct and covert cards in order to activate his abilities. He also has the Throne's Favor. Now, usually when I'm playing with the Throne's Favor, I always want to have at least 2 hero sets that deal with it, and unfortunately that just isn't available with the sets that we have available to us. So Throne's Favor might be just a tad weak in this setup because we just can't very quickly gain it, get rid of it, gain it, get rid of it at a decent pace. Let's move on to the next one. We're going to be taking a look at I think it's up here, Apocalyptic Cutie Pride. So she doesn't have any dual class except for her uncommon, which is really good. Phase Out is very strong KO ability, and so far I would say we probably could use a couple more covert and tech cards in order to activate those at a decent pace. But yeah, and then she is empowered by tech cards, which is going to be kind of difficult in order to activate. I'm not very excited about Disrupt Circuits. I don't think it's going to do extremely well. I kind of want to Infiltrate HQ, I think, is going to be very good in this game because we can kind of manipulate in terms of the mastermind or the villains being empowered, or if we need to dig for certain things. Let's take a look at our next one, which is Princess Shuri. A lot more versatile because she can get empowered by the color of your choice, which is really good. She does want us to have some tech cards for Vibranium Experiments to work out pretty well, but Shocknet is going to be filtering out the HQ as well. And then she does get empowered by the color of our choice. So I think she's going to be a pretty good game changer in there because we can just adjust our choices in terms of what's getting empowered and what we're gaining from it. So I'm keeping an eye on her, and I want to make sure she's going to get activated. She wants us to have tech and ranged cards, which we currently do have quite a bit of tech, so I'm not really too stressed about that. Let's look at our last one, which is going to be Wonder Man. So Wonder Man's from he's from here, I think. Wonder Man is a lot about empowered, which isn't the best in the situation, but he doesn't have any dual class cards, which is going to come into effect here in a little bit. But also we're going to be manipulating the HQ with absorb ambient powers, which is really nice. Wants to have some strength cards and some range cards as well. So my kind of process in terms of figuring this out, basically I went through and I tried to figure out, because we're going to be splitting the hero deck into 5 decks. I was trying to figure out what decks have the least amount of cards in it, because has the least amount of cards, because the thing is we can recruit from the same hero spot over and over again, and that can lead to a few more synergistic pieces in order to have a better deck. But because there's so many multicolored cards, those numbers are kind of hard to follow. So looking at it though, so like, for example, like the strength deck, there's potentially going to be, there could potentially actually be, there could be 5 cards in it, or there could be 17 cards in it, depending on how the multi-class cards lay out. The tech deck can have, somewhere between, what is it? Oh, man, reading my notes is very difficult, but it's not circled. So anyways, but like the range deck can have between 11 and 16 cards. The instinct deck can have between 0 and 10. The covert deck can have between 0 and 16 as well. So it just kind of depends on how everything lands. But the one thing that I kind of tried to realize is like, so if I build all these decks, the range deck is going to guarantee have at least 11 cards in it. So I can kind of count on those 11 cards. Be like, okay, if I can recruit all the range cards, I kind of know what's going to be coming, so I can use that to kind of synergize with it. And same with the instinct deck. The instinct deck is going to be pretty small. It's going to end up being somewhere between 0 and 10 cards. So I kind of know what's going to be in there, and hopefully I can kind of build around that. So like I said, I'm not 100% sure what the best way to go about this. You could just embrace the chaos basically and grab more multicolored cards. So, but yeah, so the one thing I was looking at was like, I think if we base our deck around some ranged heroes, which is going to bump up Wonder Man's abilities and Princess Shuri's abilities, I think that could lead to something good here. This is the one that if you guys don't agree with anything I'm saying, I'm perfectly fine with it because I'm a little stumped in this moment in terms of what to do. So just kind of looking at some of our options here. Let's take a look at Secret Wars Volume 1. So like I said, I think I wanted to go around more of the range thing. I think Captain Marvel potentially could do something here. We do have a lot of multi-class cards that do include strength, so that's going to help out with Marvelous strength. But the one thing is we're going to be kind of guaranteed to be able to get absorb energies because we know what deck is going to be in, and that deck could potentially be we actually kind of know what the size of the deck is going to end up being. There's not a ton of cards in there, I guess. So that means we can get that early, and then we can keep recruiting range cards so we can actually activate absorb energies more often, and we can recruit more often. So we'll have to see how it goes. It does have another multi-class card in there, and it's pretty generically strong with supersonic flight. So we'll just have to see how it goes. Like I said, I'm not 100% confident in it. If we're going with range cards, we could potentially grab some Lady Thor cards, which once again, just giving you more recruits so you can recruit for specific strategies in order to increase the power level of your deck, possibly. And then it kind of goes along with Captain Marvel. But if you kind of combine those two together, you could get something that's a little more consistent. Let's see. I think the other one I was looking, like Doctor Strange was one I was looking at because it is 2 range cards. It is Range and Instinct, which are kind of the 2 decks that we will know what's in it. So, but I don't know. I feel like I need like the Illuminati in order to activate his common card. I'm kind of iffy on that one. Let's see. You could kind of just go like a kind of like a tech route to kind of work against the Ultron Legacy deck. You could potentially throw in like you could throw in Ant-Man here as well. I mean, he's just kind of generically strong. Let's see. The other one was Viv Vision. If you want to kind of go a tech route, she does provide 2 common tech cards, and then you can do some cheering crowd stuff to get some extra bonuses from it. Like I said, this is kind of a mess, and I really wish I could be a lot more confident in my choices there. But yeah, just kind of braining it out. Just try and either spend a lot of time thinking about it or don't spend a lot of time thinking about it, and just pick 2 heroes that are generically strong, throw them in there, and you should be fine, because you should be able to activate basically any of the hero class symbols, because there's so many multi-class heroes to kind of cover all your bases. So either way, guys, I hope that was at least slightly informative, and no worries, I'm not like holding back the good picks from you guys or anything like that just because you're in my pod. So either way, good luck to everybody. Hope you guys have a good night. Hey everybody. All right, let's jump into pod number 25. This is Mom, I Had a Mad Dream. So the mastermind is Maximus the Mad. The scheme is War for the Dream Dimension. For the villain deck, we have Inhuman Rebellion, the Killmonger League, and Sinister Six. For the henchmen, we have Hand Ninjas, and for the heroes, we have the Ancient One, Gorgon, and Queen Storm of Wakanda. Special rules: note that despite the henchmen, core heroes are not available for hero selection. So just kind of keep that in mind. For the sets that are allowed, we have Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Paint the Town Red, and Realm of Kings. Let's jump into Realm of Kings and see what Maximus is up to. Let's see. Where are you at? There you are. Okay, so he has 8 attack, but he has highest abomination, so his attack is going to be increasing by whatever the highest printed attack value of the cards in the HQ are. Hopefully not a rare card. When a master strike is drawn, reveal one of Maximus's remaining mastermind tactics at random. Use its fight effect, then shuffle it back into those tactics. So, yeah, all of his tactics are bad. They're all going to do bad things. So just kind of keep that in mind. Let's jump into the War for the Dream Dimension, which I believe is from Doctor Strange. Yep. All right, War for the Dream Dimension. So 7 twists, add an extra villain group. Twist, reveal the top 2 cards of the villain deck. The villain who you revealed with the highest printed attack enters the astral plane. If you reveal a second villain this way, that villain enters the city. Put the rest of the revealed cards back in any order, and evil's going to win when there are 3 villains per player in the escape pile, or the villain deck runs out. So we're going to have some villains inside of the astral plane. We want to bring along some heroes that have some high recruit values so we can take them out of the astral plane and get them in the city, so we can use our attack to take them out again. Yeah, this one is pretty difficult because it could potentially put in 2 villains basically at the same time, and especially if there's already something in the astral plane. So it's interesting. Ancient One is one of our choices in here, so we might not be able to actually use the ability to put cards in the astral plane because the scheme twists are going to be kicking them out. So it's interesting for sure. It's a little frustrating, but the one villain group that we bring up every time it comes up is just Sinister Six. So they want us to have some instinct heroes to avoid some card discard, some wounds, things like that. It's enough there that I'm kind of like, let's try and include just like at least 1 to 2 instinct heroes at the common level to help prevent that from happening. All right. Speaking of the Ancient One, he's going to be one of our heroes, and he's pretty dang strong. So he can be sending villains to the astral plane with astral confrontation, which is a very powerful move, especially if the scheme or the mastermind or whatever isn't really messing with astral plane. We do get that a little bit with this scheme, so it's kind of iffy, but in a pinch we can throw that hero into the astral plane and then use his other cards to defeat him. Teaches a Camouflage, just draws you 2 cards, absolutely great. And War of the Mind can potentially give you 6 recruit if you activate it through a covert card. So overall, very, very strong. If one card can give you 6 recruit, like, you are golden with that. So pretty happy with that card being in there. And then it does have an alternate way for us to fight the mastermind, which is through recruit. So something we can keep in mind in terms of when we're picking heroes to bring along with us. Let's see. Let's take a look at our next one, which is going to be Gorgon, which is probably going to come from here. Gorgon. So he's pretty straightforward, I would say. He's dealing with abomination things as well, and then he can get extra bonuses if he's activating it through strength cards in terms of stopping Shockwave. We can also teleport, Lockjaw and Human's Best Friend if it's activated by a covert card, things like that. So basically we just need some covert cards and some strength cards, and I think he's going to do well. I think we'll be just fine with him. We don't have to overstress too much. Let's take a look at our last pre-selected hero, which is going to be Queen Storm of Wakanda. She's pretty good. She's moving around villains. She's getting empowered by covert and by ranged cards. Has potential to actually wound the mastermind, which is really nice. Overall, like, she just wants us to have some covert and some ranged cards, which we want covert cards for Gorgon anyway, and same with the Ancient One. So covert's kind of the name of the game in this situation. Let's take a look at some choices we have. So this is kind of another pod that I was kind of looking through, and I was like, I feel like you just need some generically strong heroes to get through this. And I think like Spider-Woman can do a pretty good job of that. She comes along with a strength card to help activate with Gorgon. She comes along with some ranged heroes to help activate for Queen Storm. I think that's decent. Like, she's just generically strong. You can draw some cards off of it, and you have the correct hero classes. For the next one, let's go back to Realm of Kings. I think I would say Karnak can do a pretty decent job here. He's going to get he's going to get bonuses from having the same amount of villain groups inside of his victory pile, and he also just needs a covert card in order to activate Brilliant Strategist. And we already have some covert cards, which is pretty dang good. Actually, I think we have plenty actually at the common level to activate Brilliant Strategist. So I think Karnak could do a pretty decent job here. And then shockingly, one that I kind of came across was Black Bolt. I think Black Bolt could do pretty good here. He can help activate Queen Wakanda's abilities. This Black Bolt isn't completely focused on cards that don't have text on there. His Break the Silence is basically there just to in terms of the one recruited to KO your starter cards. Other than that, I think it does a pretty good job. So I think Black Bolt could do a pretty decent job in this section. It might be one of those heroes you pick now so that you have your stronger heroes available to you down the road in the tournament. So those are my suggestions for this pod. I hope you guys have a great night, and good luck to everybody in pod number 25, right? It's 25. All right, let's take a look at pod number 26. This is Fear and Loathing in Westchester. The mastermind is Professor X. The scheme is Fear itself. The villain deck is X-Men First Class, Domain of Apocalypse, and the henchman is Multiple Man. For the hero deck, we have Graythoth, Breaker of Wills. We have Kingpin and Maximus. This is going to be a villain setup, so the city's going to be reversed. You can recruit Madam Hydra and new recruits, but you only gain officers or sidekicks if cards specifically state that. Things like that. Overall, I haven't played a lot of villain setups, so I can't say too much, but I'm liking kind of the hero setup we have going on right now. And we have some decent amount of suggestions we can make in terms of that. Let's take a look at our villains here. First up is going to be good old Professor X. Where are you there? He has 8 HP. He has his command strike or master strike is choose the top 2 highest allies in the layer, which is the HQ, stack them next to Professor X as telepathic pawns. Professor X gets +1 attack for each ally stacked next to him. Players can recruit the top ally in the stack next to Professor X. So he's just going to be gaining, his attack is just going to be increasing, and we can reduce his HP through recruit, which is, pretty solid, I would say. Let's take a look at the Fear itself scheme. Okay, so there's going to be 10 twists in the villain deck. Earth's fear level starts at 8. The number of allies in the lair is always equal to the fear level. KO an ally from the lair, the fear level goes down by 1. Good is going to win when good wins when the fear level is 0. Let's see, hold on. Oh yeah, good wins. Sorry, that mixed up in my head because this is the bad scheme. So just the timer clock basically is going to reduce the amount of HQ spaces we have available to us, but overall, yeah, it's just a timer scheme that we don't have to worry too much about. Let's take a look at, let's just jump into our heroes for right now. First one up is good old Greyhoth, Breaker of Wills. He's fine, I would say. I mean, Absorb Metal, I would say if they're printed nowadays, it would be a 2 and 2. You would get 4 attack total, because we've seen that on a couple of different cards. I guess not a 3 costing. Either way, he's kind of the main thing you want to do with him is you want to have an artifact in play. So if we can have another hero that provides a common card at that is an artifact, I think Absorb Metal is going to be dishing out 3 attack as quickly as possible. If we have some cover cards in order to activate Break the Will to resist, wouldn't say no. He does just get a little bit of boost in attack, potentially 2. So if we have a way to put stuff on the bottom of our deck guaranteed, like a thrown artifact, which I guess we have one in Mace of Chains, that could help get that extra attack through his uncommon one. The next one we have, the next pre-selected hero we have is going to be good old Kingpin. And Kingpin is really focused on new recruits. So you're going to gain new recruits with Recruitment Day. If you activate it by a strength card, you're going to gain it through Pull the Strings, which can put those new recruits into your hand. And Imported Illegal Weapons is going to give you a +1 attack for each new recruit you play this turn. So pretty solid. I mean, you're going to be playing new recruits, gaining attack from that, drawing cards, and then Import Illegal Weapons is going to be the last thing you play, gain a bunch of attack off of that. So pretty happy with Kingpin. He just wants to have some strength cards in order to activate those. And I believe, does Greyhoth? Greyhoth doesn't have one. That's okay. Let's take a look at Maximus from Secret Lairs Volume 1. So Maximus wants to have some cover cards and strength and tech cards, and he's focused around us fighting and defeating villains either easily or getting extra value out of them by gaining like sidekicks from Enslave the Will and things like that. Overall, I think Maximus is fine. I don't think I've ever really played him and felt very strong about him. The henchman we are facing against is Multiple Man, which can KO a lot of cards out of your hand. So he might not actually be extremely useful. He might be good in the early game, but there might hit a point where it's like, I don't want to KO my cards anymore. So I don't know if Maximus is going to help out in that section too much. Let's see. Let's take a look at our hero suggestions. Looks like I actually, no, I have 3 there. So let's take a look. I think they all come from Fear itself because they work pretty well. Kurth, Breaker of Stones, has another thrown artifact to help out with Curse Absorb Metal, which is really, really nice. He also provides some strength cards in order to help activate Kingpin to gain new recruits. He's also putting cards on the bottom. We can also look at the bottom card of our deck to get extra benefits from that. We also have thrown artifacts to go underneath there. So I think Kurth can do a pretty good job in that situation. I also think Nullbreaker of Worlds, is that what it is? Hold on. Yeah, Nullbreaker of Worlds could do, let's see. Yeah, I would say Nullbreaker of Worlds can do pretty good. That's basically mostly just around Otherworldly Maul, because you're going to get +2 attack for every single strength card you play, especially if you do Nullbreaker and Kurth at the same time. Yeah, I think he could be a pretty good pick. The other one I thought of was playing Skirn, because she's all about gaining new recruits. I mean, this thing's going to gain her 2 new recruits right away, which is pretty sweet. Whenever your effect causes you to gain a new recruit this turn, put that new recruit into your hand. So that turns this card into gain 2, draw 2, which is really, really dang strong. So possibly gain 3, draw 3, which is very, very good. So and it really works. Like Titanic Bludgeon does a really good job. If you play a bunch of new recruits and then cast this, like you're golden, you're really, really happy. So yeah, those are my 3 suggestions for pod number 26. I think I'm most excited about the Skirn pick. And also I really do think Kurth could be a really good combination with Greyhoth here. So anyways, good luck to everybody in pod number 26. Hope you guys have a great night and good luck in the tournament. All right, let's jump into pod number 27. This is Cost of Doing Business. The mastermind is Romulus. The scheme is Frame Heroes for Murder. The villain deck is Weapon Plus, Fallen, and Doombot Legion. The hero deck is Cyclops, Phantom X, Morbius, and White Tiger. Very strong setup here already. So we'll have to see if we can actually add anything into that. It's going to be a big pick. For the sets that are allowed, we have Black Panther, Core, Midnight Suns, and Weapon X. So let's jump into the setup here. We're going to be dealing with Romulus here. Some crazy intense artwork. I mean, oh, look at that. 9 attack and his weapon X sequence. So that is referring to the HQ in terms of like connecting cards or the sequences. So if you have a, anyways, you know what that is. When a Master Strike is drawn, each player reveals that they have a greater weapon X sequence than Romulus or gains a wound. Then if this is the 5th strike this game, this strike becomes a scheme twist that takes effect immediately. Oh, that's terrible. But so a little bit of wound gaining. We want to have a nice variety of hero costs, and especially like the 1s and 2s, because then we can connect the 0s in there and make the sequence even bigger. So that's Romulus for you. For the let's see, what was the other one? The murder one, which is going to be in Black Widow. Frame the heroes for murder. Okay, so frame the heroes for murder. So 7 twists. There's going to be 6 heroes. Twist 1 to 6. Stack a card from the HQ next to the scheme as incriminating evidence that has a different cost than any card already in the stack. Add any card from the HQ to the incriminating evidence. Evil's going to win when there are 5 pieces of incriminating evidence. I just realized that this I think I read this card wrong. So it actually tells us we want to have not a variety of classes, but or not a variety of costs. But yeah, see, that's terrible. Man. We're going to roll with the punches here, because the thing is, like, we have Phantom X in there and he already has 1, 2, 3, and 4 in terms of costs and things like that. So it might be one of those things where it's like, hey, this is just a timer scheme that we can't really stop. So I think we're just going to be moving on from that. In terms of the here, let's see, villains we don't have to worry about. Let's jump into our setup here. So for the core box, we have good old Cyclops, very flexible hero, even though he doesn't kind of look like it. What's really cool about this is we could play like Optic Blast and discard a agent in order to get that extra attack, basically converting that recruit into attack. We could also do that with Determination as well. He does have some discard synergies with his uncommon, but overall, Cyclops is just big stat numbers. Does a great job. Killer artwork as well, even though it's all the same on every card. Let's move on to our next one. We got Phantom X here, and his whole shtick is about weapon X sequences, and that's why his cards cost 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you should be able to make that weapon X sequence work out pretty well. Overall, it's just all based about the weapon X sequence. It's not really asking too much in terms of everything else. It's kind of cool we do have a rare card that 4. I think that's pretty dang solid. So let's see. Let's move on to Morbius here. Morbius is from the Midnight Suns release. And he wants us to have some Moonlight cards so we can activate his abilities more consistently, and also have some covert cards so we can have Blood Frenzy activated all. Overall, he's a pretty dang strong and powerful card, just kind of generically on his own. As long as we can support him through some covert cards, I think we're going to be just fine. And looks like we don't have any so far, but we're going to move on to White Tiger, which is going to be, let's see, is that, wait, where is White Tiger? Oh no, White Tiger's probably in here, I think. No, wait, who's White Tiger? Morbius, White Tiger from Black Widow. Oh yeah, ugh. What's going on with me? All right, White Tiger. So she's pretty decent. She wants us to fight and defeat henchmen, and our henchmen of the Doombot Legion. We want to do that anyway. But Dark Influence of the Hand wants us to have a nice variety of hero classes, so we can activate that Dark Memories and get as much out of it as possible. We can also convert some recruit into attack and rescue some bystanders with that ability as well. So overall, I feel like White Tiger doesn't ask too much of us, but I think we can make a couple changes in there so we can keep that Dark Memories nice and activated. So taking a look, the one thing that I kind of noticed we needed some covert cards in order to activate Morbius. And we also wanted some, let's see, what was the other thing we needed? We want to have some 1 and 2 costing cards so we can kind of complete those weapon X sequences as much as possible. So kind of looking at the numbers, we basically are missing some slots. We want to have some 1 costing cards, which are pretty rare, and I don't, and in the sets that we have available to us, we don't have any other card that will give us that 1 cost, but we do want some 2 costs and some 5 costs. So I actually went through and looked at all the cards that had a 2 and a 5 cost at the common slot, and I did come across some good ones. Like Werewolf by Night would be a great pick here because he provides a couple odd cards for in order to activate or keep Moonlight activated, which is really good. And honestly, he's just a really good generic card who's going to do good work basically no matter what. He wants us to have some instinct cards so that we can activate his Release the Beast. But looking at it right now, looks like we are just a smidge low on activating that, but we can still get some good bonuses even if it's Sunlight and Moonlight. So the other one I was looking at that was another 2 and 5 is actually Wong, Master of Arts. We do have plenty. Let's see, yeah, we have plenty of ranged heroes in order to activate Searing Shards of Sunlight, which is pretty cool. But yeah, and then overall, like, he's just drawing some cards either through Seal the Rift or Bridge Between Dimensions. Like Wong can fit in a lot of decks as long as we can, at least activate the ranged superpower on Searing Shards on at least a decent pace as well. The other one I was kind of looking at is going back to core. Like Captain America we have a nice little variety of heroes because we have so many different. We have the hero deck is quite a bit bigger. We have a lot of different heroes we needed to add in there. So we have a nice variety of colors. So that way, Perfect Teamwork and Avengers Assembled is going to do some really good work in there. The other one I was looking at was Thor, because he mainly works really well with Cyclops. They're both about just kind of big numbers, and we generally can get some decent amount of recruit. So we can activate Surge of Power on a pretty frequent basis. We'll be able to activate Call of Lightning very often. And in terms of the strength card, Cyclops can help out with that one. Let's see, Morbius has an uncommon card that can do that as well. And then White Tiger has one at common as well. So Odin's Son should be able to be activated pretty consistently. Well, either way, guys, good luck to everybody in pot number 27. Those are my suggestions. Hope those resonated with you guys. And, honestly, if you guys have different suggestions, like, let me know. Like, I love hearing other people's kind of theory crafting on the same thing I do. Just because I didn't see it doesn't mean, my way isn't the only way. So either way, hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you next time. All right, let's jump into pot number 28. This is kind of like a core box kind of feeling, but should work out pretty well. Looks like, does anyone want to get out? For the Mastermind, we have Hydra High Council. For the Scheme, we have Negative Zone Prison Breakout. For the Villain deck, we have Hydra Elite Hydra. And for the Henchman, we have Sentinel and Savage Land Mutates. For the Hero deck, we have Captain America, Mockingbird, and Spider-Woman. Pretty solid lineup in terms of hero decks, like a lot of generically strong ones. And we got a couple good options in terms of what we can use to elevate these. For the special rules, there's no final blows. This is an adapting Mastermind, and we only have 3 sets available to us. We have Core, Paint the Town Red, and Shield. Let's jump into the Mastermind for here. So this is going to be the Hydra High Council. There's a lot of different ones. I'm not going to read through all of them, but these are just going to adapt and change depending on what's on top. The one thing, there's not really a way for us to prevent these. It's not really saying like, hey, if you have a strength card, you can do X, Y, and Z. So we're just probably not going to worry about them too much for right now. For the core set, we do get one of the more difficult schemes, I would say, in Negative Zone Prison Breakout. So there's going to be 8 twists, add an extra henchman group to the villain deck. Twist, play the top 2 cards in the villain deck, Evil's wins if 12 villains escape. So the thing that's tough about that is Scheme Twist can jump into other Scheme Twists, and you can end up with some disastrous turns. You're going to lose out of nowhere. So kind of a rough break. 12 villains escaping is quite a bit, especially for just 2 players, but still it's definitely going to be a rough one for some people. Let's see, we don't have to worry about basically anything in the villain deck. Let's take a look at our heroes. Some of these are pretty classic and we know what's going on with them already, but let's take a peek anyway. So we have Captain America. He wants us to have multiple colors. That is a little bit different because for example, starter cards have a color, but they don't have a class. So if you played Perfect Teamwork and a shield, and if you played Perfect Teamwork and an agent, you're actually going to get 2 attack off of Perfect Teamwork because you have a green card and a gray one. So keep that in mind. But overall, Captain America is great. We just want a variety of colors, and he's going to do his job. The one thing that's kind of important to remember, like if Avengers Assembles gives you 3 recruit, like you're above par and doing well. Perfect Teamwork, if this gives you 3 attack, you're doing just fine. So you don't need to maximize as much as possible, but it's still good too. But you can still feel good about the setup, even if those cards only give you, 3 recruit or 3 attack. Let's move on to Mockingbird, who's going to be in the shield section. Now, she doesn't work particularly well with Captain America because she does provide 2 common instinct cards, and he already has an instinct card. But Mockingbird is a very, very powerful card. She does a little bit of sending cards under cover, which is basically KOing them with Take Cover. And then especially this one, Battle Stabs, gives you 2 attack. You only need shield level 2, and then you're drawing a card every time you play this, which is bonkers strong. So pretty happy about that. She just wants us to have some instinct cards and to have the shield level up to 2, and then you'll be pretty dang happy. So yeah, we definitely want to be supporting that. Let's go to our last one, which is going to be in Paint the Town Red, which is going to be good old Spider-Woman. You can't really go wrong with her. She's very generically strong. She basically just gives you good stats and then gives you potential to draw extra cards. So good pickup there. I don't think we get a little top deck knowledge with radioactive spiders. That's something we can kind of keep in mind, but we don't have to make like any really strong picks. We don't have to do too much to support her. But one way we can support her is actually through Scarlet Spider. Scarlet Spider is really good. He doesn't fit into kind of that classic, like, if it costs 2, you can draw it kind of mechanic with most Spider-Man cards. But he provides a nice, I guess he provides a strength and an instinct card, so it doesn't really help out Captain America too much, but brings along a covert card from Leap from Above. We should be able to activate Flip Out pretty decently if we combine it with Spider-Woman, which is really nice. Yeah, overall, Scarlet Spider is just kind of generically strong. He does want us to have some instinct cards in order to activate Leap from Above, but we do have that with like Captain America and Mockingbird. I don't know if you want to mix those ones up too much, but Leap from Above can go in basically either deck, so should be good there. The other option, let's see, so we're kind of looking for like tech and covert cards. We're looking for some shield updates and some top deck manipulation. So in terms of like, let's see. What was the other one I was thinking of? I think I was looking at Moon Knight, actually. Moon Knight does pretty decent here in this situation. Let's see. Why did I write down Moon Knight? Well, Moon Knight does provide some tech cards to bump up with Captain America, which is good. Provides a instinct card with Lunar Communion to help out with Mockingbird, which is really nice. And then Spider-Woman, not really much of a change in that one. I guess if you're looking at the top card of your deck with Crescent Moon Darts and you miss, you can always use Spider-Woman's uncommon cards to draw those. So I think Moon Knight could be a decent pick. Unfortunately, I didn't write down like kind of what my thought process was with that. So apologies to pod number 28 for that one. Now, I think the next one, so Mockingbird is very strong. If you want to support her a little better and maybe make Spymaster deal out a decent amount of damage, you probably want to grab one of the heroes that are also in the shield one, so you can send those heroes undercover and increase her the shield level. I think there's 2 ways you can go about that. I think Deathlock could be a decent pick in this situation because you generally don't need a lot from Deathlock. Like if you can get his shield level up to 1, you're pretty happy, and then Headlock's going to get you up to 3 just on its own. So overall, Deathlock's a pretty strong hero on its own. You could bring him along. I think Quake could be another good pick here. She does provide a little bit more I guess she provides some range cards to help out with Captain America. But if you get her shield level up to 2, you're now dishing out 4 damage with that. I mean, she's a pretty dang powerful one. And if you combine her, she doesn't really help activate Mockingbird, but she gets the shield level up. And once you get it up to 2, I mean, you're drawing cards with battle staves and you're getting 4 attack with Aftershock. I mean, that's definitely worth it. So those are my suggestions for pod number 29. Hope those resonated with you or got you thinking better. Like I said, if you come up with better ideas than me, like go for it. Trust your gut, and you can always send me a message and be like, see, I've made way better picks than you, which is just fine by me. But yeah, either way, good luck to you guys. All right, let's go over the last one. This is pod number 29. This is C-SPAN's best ratings ever. For Mastermind, we have Mojo. For the Scheme, we have Explosion at the Washington Monument. For the Villain deck, we have Mojoverse, Celestials. And for the Henchman, we have Circus of Crime. For the Hero deck, we have Captain Marvel, High-Tech Spider-Man, and Longshot. For the special rules, when counting VP, remember that each bystander is worth 3 VP. Sets that are allowed is Dimensions, Into the Cosmos, Spider-Man, Homecoming, and X-Men. Just so you know, the VP from the bystander is coming from Mojo, I believe. All right, let's take a look at our situation here. Let's take a look at Mojo, probably one of the creepiest villains in all of X-Men here. So we have Mojo. He has 6 attack, which isn't much, but start of the game, he's going to capture 3 human shields. All bystanders and victory piles are worth 3 VP. For Master Strike, Mojo captures a human shield. Each player reveals a tech card or discards a card at random. So we're dealing with human shields, and we kind of want to have some tech cards in order to prevent that discard from happening. So Mojo can be a smidge tough, but let's move on to our next one, which is going to be coming from Spider-Man Homecoming. So I think this one's kind of a gimmicky one. So there's going to be a twist in the villain deck. We're going to shuffle 18 bystanders and 14 wounds together and deal them evenly into 8 decks. Put those cards in a row as floors of the Washington Monument. Special rules. Whenever you fight a villain, you may reveal any face-down card from any floor. If it's a bystander, rescue it. If it's a wound, put it back face up. Twist. KO the topmost floor of the Washington Monument. You may gain one of the
you gain one of the wounds KO this way. Evil wins when 10 bystanders are in the KO pile and or escape pile, or all floors are KO'd. So once again, just kind of a timer and kind of a gimmicky scheme, so they don't have to stress too much about it. Let's see. Let's take a look at our situation here. Looks like we're just jumping right into the heroes. So we got Captain Marvel. He's pretty good. So he amplifies Danger Sense into not just giving you attack, but giving you shards, which is pretty dang solid. And then, for example, like Creature Genetics can draw you a card if you created any shards that turn, which is pretty sweet. Overall, I feel like Captain Marvel isn't really telling us he needs too many things, but being able to take advantage of that Danger Sense, I think, is going to be a pretty big game. So hopefully we can do that. Let's take a look at our next hero, which is going to be High-Tech Spider-Man from the Homecoming set. Now, let's see. High-Tech Spider-Man's pretty good. I would say the one thing that's really good about him, advanced targeting system. So you do get to do the reveal the top card of the deck if the cost 2 or lets you get a draw, which is good. But if it's activated by an instant covert card, you just get the draw card straight up. So potentially 2, but most likely you're going to get 1 off of this one. And then you do have some Danger Sense in here with Recon Drone Connection, and Spider Grip is just pretty dang good. Reducing the HP of 2 villains in the HP is a good one. So overall, he's just asking us basically to have another covert card so we can activate Advanced Targeting System. And I guess the tech card was Spider Grip, but still. Yeah, pretty good pick there. This Danger Sense card should fit pretty well with Captain Marvel. And the last one that we have available to that is pre-selected for us, good old Longshot. I like Longshot. He kind of puts cards on top of your deck. He looks at them. He can KO cards. He can berserk some cards, which is pretty fun. Wants to have some tech cards, so Flurry of Blades is activated, and Make My Own Luck for covert cards. Great hero. He's fun to read about, actually. Okay, so let's take a look at some options here. So I was looking through the X-Men setup, and there are going to be some human shields running around, especially with the Mastermind. And I think you could potentially just go all into Light Show in here, because the thing is, like, High-Tech Spider-Man, Longshot, and Captain Marvel kind of work together already. So you could bring along a different strategy. You could bring along Jubilee, which gives you a lot of extra attack and a lot of extra recruit for every single Light Show card you play, which is good. And they both draw cards, which is bonkers strong. And you could tag that along with Dazzler. She has Light Show and everything, but the big one is Piercing Energy. You're going to get +1 Piercing Energy for each Light Show card you played this turn. So you can use that to actually hit cards through the human shields, because you do ignore those, and potentially take out Mojo with it as well. So I think that's one pretty decent option in that situation. If you want to kind of focus on what's going on right now, I would say Adam Warlock could do pretty good in this situation. He does have a way to fight through those human shields by burning 4 shards and taking out some of the Mojoverse heroes without having to worry about the human shields. And overall, he just gives you some options to do with the shards you're probably going to be getting through the Danger Sense over here. Yeah, I think he could do pretty decent in this situation. And our last recommendation is going to be Peter Parker Homecoming. He is just covered in Danger Sense cards, which is really, really nice. If you combine this with Captain Marvel, you should be getting quite a lot of shards through this ability. He does have some ways to draw cards with cards that cost 2 or less, but if you combine that with High-Tech Spider-Man, you should be drawing cards off of this very, very frequently. You're also rescuing some bystander. Let's see, if you reveal bystander, you get to rescue, so that doesn't do too much for you there. But still, I think Peter Parker Homecoming is a pretty good combination with High-Tech Spider-Man. So, all right, everybody, that is my suggestions. And guess what? That is it. We are all wrapped up with all of our suggestions for week 2 in the Big Old Top Spring 2025 tournament. I'm going to shut down here and go to bed because I'm tired. So either way, I had a great time going over this with you guys. I'm excited for this tournament to keep going. Good luck to everybody. Hope these suggestions helped you out. And like I said, if you feel like you came up with a better idea than me, I mean, I'm sure there are, because there's a lot of people out there with more brains than I do. And just go ahead and send them to me, and you can laugh in my face and and just know I'm not like hoarding all my good picks. So either way, good luck, guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye.